Morning survivors, it's Angie. Today we're going to talk about how sometimes if it's not one thing, it's your mother. Let's do it. A lot of my viewers have been asking me to talk about narcissistic mothers, and this is a hard one. It hits a little close to home, but let's talk about it. All right. So one thing someone asked me was, what does a narcissistic mother mean when she says, "I love you"? Well, here you go. Here it goes. 1, she might feel obligated to say that. 2, she might use that as a manipulation tactic to get you to do what she wants. For example, she might say, "I love you so much, can you come over and mow the lawn for me?" Or whatever, that's a silly one. But the thing is that narcissistic mothers they see their children as extensions of themselves. And this continues throughout adulthood. And that's why there are so many adult children of narcissists out here in the world who are no contact or who are still being tortured by their narcissistic mothers. It's a very interesting thing. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the characteristics of a narcissistic mother. This might be a couple series, video long series, because there are several questions I have to answer here. So characteristics. Number 1, everything she does is something she can deny, right? So, or at least according to her. So a narcissistic mother tends to work in weird ways. Now, do I think that she loves her children? Yes, up to a point. Do I think it's a healthy, normal love? No. She loves her children, like I said, like they're an extension of herself. And so she becomes especially disappointed and devastated even when her children go outside of the little box that she's painted for them on the ground. And what I mean is, a lot of times a narcissistic mother is going to have a really specific vision for her children. She's going to be like, well, I want you to be, let's say, I don't know, a teacher or whatever. And let's just say it's a teacher. It could be whatever it is, you know. And when the child says, "Mom, I don't really want to be a teacher. I really want to be a truck driver," or whatever, Mom is incredibly disappointed and horribly humiliated and embarrassed and blah, blah. Or, you know, Mom wants you to go to this college or that college and you choose a different college, and, you know, you're evil and you're the bad kid and da-da-da-da-da. You know, narcissistic mothers often have a golden child and they have a scapegoat child. And what I have found personally, throughout my, through doing my coaching work that I do, is that almost like literally 99% of us, or okay, 90% of us came out of homes where we had at least one narcissistic parent. It's not always the mother, but it is very often the mother. And I think part of the reason for this is that, narcissistic fathers tend to either control or distance themselves from their children. Narcissistic fathers will become jealous of their boys, and they will become controlling of their girls. Narcissistic mothers have a whole different thing. They're jealous of their girls for weird, sick reasons sometimes, like because they're younger and more attractive, and because they're smarter, or because, they have a better life ahead of them, or they're, I have one client who is incredibly smart and educated, and she comes from a family that isn't quite as educated, and her mother just treats her horribly, constantly gaslights her. When she went through one of the most painful breakups of her life, her mother acted like it was nothing. And she acted like she was exaggerating and all of this stuff. So, and she wasn't. She was really being tortured. It was a really terrible situation. So, narcissistic mothers will minimize you. They will make you feel as though you are not as important as anyone else. If you grow up with a narcissistic mother, you will grow up believing you are not good enough. And no matter how often people tell you that you're good enough, you have to really work hard to see it and feel it. And you literally have to rethink everything that you know about life, because the person who was supposed to show you the way showed you a toxic route and showed you that you didn't matter, that you didn't have any ability to do what you wanted to be healthy and happy. And quite honestly, a narcissistic mother will a lot of times just flat out tell you that you don't deserve to be happy and you don't deserve anything, okay? So let's talk a little more about that. Your narcissistic mother will disguise criticism as concern. She will never come right out and say to you, "You're not good enough." But she will do things like, like for example, if you walked in and you had hair looking like this, she might be like, "Oh, what did you do with your hair?" Ooh. Or, if you choose a career path that she doesn't like, she'll be like, "Oh, yeah, that's really good." But she's probably going to say way more than that. the fact is that everything that a narcissistic mother does, she will say that she's doing to quote-unquote help you. Yeah. If you had a narcissistic mother, you probably grew up thinking that you just didn't get along with your mom very well, you were different people. A narcissistic mother will violate your boundaries on the regular. She will tell you, she will give away your stuff, or I have an example for you. A friend of mine, her narcissistic mother has another child who owns property, and that child lives in a different state, and so she told her daughter, hey, you could go live over there and take care of the house and pay a little rent, and she literally tried to move her daughter out of her own home into her other child's home in order to help this other child without any concern for what the daughter was going to do when the other child came back and took the home back. So it was interesting. But I could give you all kinds of good examples of that. So narcissistic mothers violate your boundaries. So let's say you did something good, like you wrote a book and you got your book in the mail from the publisher. Let's say you call your mom up and you go, hey mom, I got a book. I published, I'm so excited. And she's like, oh, that's great. I'm really busy. I got to go. Okay. Or she might say, well, your cousin Stephen King, he published a book. That's a really bad example. I don't have a cousin named Stephen King, but if I did, I'd be cool with it. Anyway, my point is that narcissistic mothers will do anything they can to minimize your accomplishments. They will do anything they can to make you feel bad about yourself, and they do consider you an extension of themselves. When they say, I love you, it is either an obligatory statement or it means, let me control you. And when you don't let them control you, they do, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. They do this thing where they get these people called, I don't know, I call them surrogates. They connect with other people closer to your age or a little younger than you or a little older, and they literally treat them as like the daughter they never had or the son they never had. And that seems to be especially the case with women, with females, with daughters. And it can be very devastating to the actual daughter, because the actual daughter spent her whole life wanting to please the mother and never could, unless she pretended to be something she wasn't, you see? It's very difficult. And eventually most of us get to the place where we're just like, okay, I can't be who you want me to be, Mom. I gotta go, So at least that's where we get when we realize what we're dealing with. Now, some of us don't ever realize it. Some of us spend our whole lives being dominated by this woman until, called mom until she dies. And that's terrible. And, and then there's all the guilt that goes along with having a narcissistic mom, because, we're taught that being, a daughter and being a good family member means being there for your parents and doing whatever you need to do and la la la. And narcissistic moms will really blow it up that way. When you're a kid, she might read your diary. She might tell everyone your problems. Like when you started your period, if you're a girl, she might have told the whole neighborhood about it. She acts like, she should be celebrated at your birthday instead of you because she made it through that long or whatever. A narcissistic mother will undermine your efforts. And, if you're trying to achieve something, achieve a dream, be happy, she'll undermine your efforts. And she will, she will literally, as I said, she'll criticize you all the time. She'll cross all of your boundaries. She'll give away your stuff. It's no good. She'll pick a favorite child. You'll know who it is. They'll know who it is. It's no good for anybody involved. Like I said, the whole scapegoat thing, right? The fact that your narcissist mother has been spending your whole life controlling you, and probably her life controlling other people, it's very hard to explain to her that she's who she is. And so a lot of times you have to go no contact. I have so much more to say about narcissistic mothers, but I'm out of time today. So I'm going to wrap it up. If you have specific questions that you'd like to ask me, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer those. I'm going to do that this week. I've got a lot of other viewer questions I'll be answering this week as well, probably some of those today. And I did get a new computer, so we'll be good for actual recordings that aren't just vlogs. Here we go. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you soon. Thanks, as always, for being a part of my life and a part of my day. And just in case there was any confusion at all, the coffee was good today. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day.